Y'all, there I was trying to pull my life together and be here on time and do everything that I said I would do. Normal Tuesday, right? No, no, no. There's no such thing as a normal Tuesday anymore. It's really just a run on of Thursday that hasn't stopped. Hey, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Timeout Tuesday, where we unwind from the week that it already has been because Monday wasn't enough. Tuesday, surely Tuesday could maybe just ease up a little, but no, it didn't. I've spent the last 30 minutes chasing chickens because I guess we had a little bit of a miscommunication today. I was at JL North for a whole other fiasco that happened, and Lester was here this afternoon, and I thought that I said make sure you put the chickens up before you leave, and I guess maybe I didn't say that because the chickens were not up, and not only were they not up, they were halfway down the ridge. So my chickens aren't trained like Miss Pat's to the fancy red cup come a running type of scenario. So I have been coaxing chickens up the side, grabbing one at a time and trying to get them into the coop. And each time that I get one in, then something else happens and it runs back to the flock, and it's a fiasco. Is it done? Nope. They all ran directly right back out right before I came in. And I just said, I'm not winning. And I'm fighting nature, I guess. And I just hope that they all just magically appear in the light as soon as it gets dark. That's where I'm at. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Tonight we are drinking a watermelon margarita, a Cayman Jack. I did not grab ice because, well, here I am. I grabbed this, and this is the best that I could do. So we're drinking it right out of the can, as shit show ragtag backwoods redneck as possible. Cheers, y'all, to Timeout Tuesday, because it's that kind of Tuesday. That's pretty dang good. That's not too strong. Doesn't taste like straight up tequila, which sometimes when you buy these cans of things like that, it can. Doesn't taste like can. Quite fruity, actually. Think I'll have another sipper. I had all these things that I wanted to talk about, and I had them in my head, and I'm usually a pretty good little thinker, and pretty good at recalling things and bringing it all together. And now I have no idea what I wanted to talk about tonight. So here we sit amongst the shit show, and we're just going to take a breath. Okay, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be totally fine. When I walk back out there, I left Fiona out there, so my hope is Fiona just makes everybody kumbaya and come together, and that they get all together. I sprinkled some of their favorite food inside, and let's just hope that they figure it out. Okay, it's gonna be fine. So, funny story. I'm a little bit competitive, nothing like a Morrow competition, but I like brain games and thinking and all of those things. So about a week and a half-ish ago, somebody sent over this word search that supposedly had 84 names and animals and things in it. And initially we didn't ask for the key. We just started to look, and I was able to get all these in blue on my own. And then I started to stumble and get a little bit I'm just not into it. So Lester asked for the key, which is where all these names and things came from. And I am pleased to say I'm down to 2. I'm down to 2 left. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I stayed up until 1 o'clock in the morning doing it last night. and that the green ones are Lester's that he's contributed, and the pink and the light pink are mine. Because why? Because I can't let that win. I left it on the counter so that, like while we're having coffee, we would each find one, and it would be this like little romantic challenge thing. And then after it sat there for long enough, I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it. So now I have to do two more. So I was thinking about doing that tonight, later on, but now I got home much later. This whole day has been, I need a redo. I need a redo. I need a redo. I'll just say that. This day has been something else. And there's a video that will come out tomorrow, but I had to call the sheriff's office today. And that really sent me in a spiral because I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. And well, it's done and everything's is what it is. But between that and then trying to get back here, and when I got back here, then we had chicken situation. I had to give Ivy her meds, and I'm just like, just one of those days where it's just like I needed to be able to hang out with y'all. It was kind of a rough little bit of a weekend, and then I also I just need to unwind, and I'm really happy to be here. So Loose Lips Lester already spoke about Jamie's late night word affair. It's done now. It's almost done now. As soon as it's done, I can write it off and I will grab another one. So it'll be okay. It's going to be fine. Totally fine. Many people are like, yeah, I don't want to redo today either. I actually don't want to redo today. I would rather just let's move on. Let's press forward. So Barnadette and the babies are doing well. I had intentions of gathering that playpen thing that someone sent and putting it in the bathroom and getting Barnadette set up in that. But I ran out of time today. So that will be later. The thing about that I think is going to be neat about that is that I think the top unzips, so she'll be able to jump all the way out while they're stuck in. So I'm hopeful that that's how that thing works. If not, that might be how I make it work. We'll see. But Barnadette is, Laura says no Barnadette and don't see Sadie either. Barnadette's in my bathroom with her 5 babies that we have to name, by the way. We have to name. And maybe I'll just go get them. Then we can snuggle some kittens and then we can just really unwind. We'll do that later. You know that she'll jump right out with the kittens. I don't know if she will jump out with the kittens. So here's what's happening right now. So I have them kind of tucked under the bench. They're on an old rug. And she's keeping them in there and she comes out. And at night when Lester has the dogs over at jail north, I just let her roam the whole house and she'll come and sleep in bed with me and she leaves the kids at home. Okay. She leaves the babies at home. And, so she is slowly giving herself a break whenever she needs them. And that's very normal. I've seen dogs do that and even goats do that. They start to give themselves a break. So she's doing that already. But I think if I put them in that playpen thing, she'll be able to jump in and jump out and it will give them much more room to be able to navigate as well. So that's probably what I think I'll try to do tonight after I get done. I've been calling them all kinds of things. One of them's Popeye, one of them's Squirrel. The one with the light gray one with the M, I've been calling it Morrow. And then of course I have Daniel Tiger, and that leaves one more that doesn't have a name yet. And I don't know if it's male or female because I don't remember, because my brain decided that we weren't going to store that information this week. It just sort of skipped over that. So we'll see. And maybe y'all can name the last one, or maybe y'all can name many of them if you want to, but I've just been calling them that because Lester hasn't officially named them, which is very un-Lester-like of him to not claim that name. But we'll see. I'll probably do that on a different live. Olive oil. I like olive oil. Helen says, if the playpen doesn't work, maybe a hard plastic pool. I actually saw some at Dollar General when I drove by today, and I think that is not a bad idea to try that because cats wouldn't be able to climb out of that right away. I only have a couple more weeks. I think they're 2.5 weeks old tomorrow. Is that right? We'll see. For everybody saying, why did I call the sheriff? It had to do with jail north. No one is, everything's safe now and it's all under control, but I don't intend to really dive into that tonight. But I did have to make that phone call today and meet with an officer, because we had an incident. But there'll be a video about it tomorrow. And we'll figure it out from there. Hang on a second. My phone is messaging. Oh, that's Dr. Cochran. Okay. Betty says, why would you mention it? I mentioned it because I wanted you to know why I was unwinding and stressed and just trying to deal with that today. We had a break-in. Okay. That's what I'll tell you. We had a break-in at the jail north, and it was scary, and it was alarming, and I had to call the sheriff. So there you have the gist of it. Vanita, clickbait is when you say something that hasn't had nothing to do with it. That's not clickbait. Come on now. Okay. I have to do a reset. Everybody's okay. I have to do a reset here because people are in a very anxious and tussled mindset right now. And it makes me be extra defensive right now, and I am in a I'm an emotional person, okay? I'm an overthinker, and I don't like to skirt issues. I like to be able to talk through things. I like to be able to we're friends here. We're family, and I like to be able to give everyone grace whenever they're having bad days, and I kind of hope that people can give me grace on my bad days too, or in my moments. And lately I have found myself having to be defensive about things, and that I am burying emotions and trying really hard to just steer the path and stay on to things and really be a positive light through all of the madness that's going on in this world. I like to be transparent, and I also sometimes get a little wrapped up in my own emotions and my own stress. And while I am a creator and I am a person who puts my life out here for the world, it also is a very vulnerable place. And sometimes when all of life's things come at me, and then the people that are supposed to, or that I hope are being supportive of me, also come at me, it becomes overwhelming. And I get stumbly over what happens. I take that to heart. I take that to bed. I take that to work. It just doesn't leave my head. I am a people pleaser by nature. That's who I am. But I also have found with age that I'm a realist, and that humans sometimes can only take so much. And I found myself this weekend in a place of, I felt very attacked. And what I really did was set some boundaries for myself that people did not enjoy. And now I'm finding myself sort of trying to navigate to avoid that, but also that's not really who I am. I don't like conflict. I don't like drama. I don't like negative. I don't like arguing. In fact, it makes me so uncomfortable to have to be confrontational or even to set that boundary and to say no is really hard for me. So this weekend, people were grilling us about cornholio. And I basically said, like, can we just be kind? Can we just be this? And people just started hammering left and right. And I recognize that it's just probably a small group amongst many, okay? Yet I got emotional and responded emotionally in a place that I normally wouldn't have. I normally would be just like, nope, just take it. It's okay. It's your cross to bear. It's your burden and all these things. And I normally am that person. But I guess that everybody has their tipping point or boiling point or whatever, and it struck a nerve. It struck a nerve. And I said things that I don't think came out right, but I also still stand by the fact that we all deserve boundaries. We all deserve the ability to internalize, and we're all valid in the emotions that we feel. I thought 2024 was a really hard year. 2025 though, I do not recommend the repeat of 2025. I don't want to sit here and list off all my troubles and woes, because there are people that have 10 times, 100 times more problems than I do. But at the end of the day, I'm still a person, still have feelings, still have a soul, still have a heart, and still have a conscience. And still feel like we're friends. And that sometimes friends don't agree. Sometimes friends or relationships or family have different expectations of each other. And that it's better to sit here, in my standpoint, is better to just talk about this and to recognize that I'm a person too. And just like y'all are, and you just have, the bad days that you have, or the bad moments, or the, the decisions that you make and the circumstances that come from them, like, they're things that we all have to live with and deal with. And I fully agree. But I was grief is real. I'll just say that. And loss is hard. And sometimes you don't grieve in real time. And you don't recognize how much stuff that you've like buried until it's so stacked up that you just sort of, I don't want to say lose it, because I didn't lose it. I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I was matter of fact. And I don't know that people have heard me be that way. And I'm not apologizing for setting boundaries, but I could have handled it much better. So I am sorry for how I handled that. And I'll just say it, like, I'm not making excuses, but there's a lot. There's a lot. And anyway, okay. I didn't mean to start out this live this way. I didn't mean to cry. I never mean to cry, but half the time I say it on here, and I'll let all of every feeling I have show up on Tuesdays, I guess. And I know that you come here to have a good time and to feel, to laugh, to do all those things. And I have to thank you for allowing me to be me and to say what was on my heart. So, okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some positive things this week. So, some positives this week are the fact that I sat on Talus and made a couple of laps. And believe it or not, last night, I also saddled up Prim on my own. 100% on my own after dinner while I was here and did some garden work. And I just thought, I want to build up the courage to be able to do the things without help. And I'm not saying like I'm going to jump on a horse and ride through the pastures and do all those things, but being confident enough to saddle them and to take that back off, it was a really big deal. And it went really well. And my hopes are maybe in the next week or so, maybe I will get back on Prim. I intend to get back on Talus, and I would really love to get on Bow this week as well. I enjoy the horses. Let me rephrase that. I love the horses, every one of them. And I love the connection and the escape and all the pieces that come with that. And now I want to take it a step further and get better and more confident and connected to them without the help of others. And I know that sounds like really like, oh, Jamie, just grow up. That connection is really special. And from the ground, I have it wholeheartedly. I can ask our horses to do anything and communicate with them. And that's taken a lot of time and a lot of work. I'm not saying that they're always going to listen to what I'm asking, but I do feel that if it's just me and the horses, that connection is even better. So I'm building up the confidence to do it on my own, and we will see. We'll absolutely see. I also worked in the garden all the way until about 10 o'clock last night. And that was like something that had been weighing on me about feeling behind. I knew that I had, I started seeds. I lost quite a bit whenever I went to Illinois. Lester tried his best, but many didn't make it. So I had restarted some and got to be able to transfer the majority of those into the garden. And then last weekend, I bought a new hoe. And this is so dumb. I think Stephanie has a shirt that says something like hoeing ain't easy or something ridiculous like that. And she had it on the other day, and this sounds so dumb. It made me buy a new hoe because the only one that I had was this little like handheld one that had the forks on the one end. And I'll be honest with you, when I used it and did the work, my forearm would hurt for like 3 days. And so I went out and bought myself a real hoe. This sounds so dumb to say. What else do you call it? It's a hoe, right? Like, that's what it is. It's a garden hoe, right? Well, I went out and bought myself a real one. And then yesterday found myself like taking out all of this emotion on the dirt. And I was able to, I hoed out back, I hoed out front. I hoed on each layer. I just hoed everywhere yesterday. And I was able to get all of the weeds that were growing up around the backside and all my sunflowers and all the all the flowers planted. And then on the edges, a cultivator. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I still think it's a hoe, but it's okay. So I went around the edges where a lot of things were starting to grow up, got all of that cleared out. It was my first time hoeing, okay? And then I was able to I got more rows of corn in, so I have some succession planting in some corn, and I got popcorn planted, which I was really excited about. I got all the tomatoes in and staked, and my cucumbers were in. I did a little bit more where some of the stuff uh wasn't growing, and then the rest of the beans are in, and I still have room for my melons and for my pumpkins. I have a few more starts that are in inside the greenhouse, but I feel like I have like pulled the garden together last minute. I have a yes, Donna, popcorn plant. So popcorn grows just like eared like sweet corn does. It grows on stalks with ears. So whenever that happens, then you let it get to a certain dry point, and then you have popcorn. So I'm growing that, and I am what else is out there? I have this vision, okay? So I have a pile of dirt out there, and every time that I have a pile of dirt, like my brain, it's like Sister Kim. Kim sees a piece of wood, all of a sudden she's got a brand new shed. I see some dirt, we have gardening to do. So in front of my terrace garden, I want to buy some of those concrete paver thingies that are like they're curved already, and or maybe they're stone. Maybe it's not concrete. I don't know the difference between that, but they're curved and formed. So I want to be able to make, there's 4 tiers. I want to be able to make 4 scallops and put that dirt in there. And then I want my flowers to grow on the outside. And I bought 2 things a couple weeks ago, I guess. I bought 2 passion fruit plants. And I want those to go because those will trellis all along the edges. And one is red and one is purple. And I think that that'll look stunning. And then just do a little landscaping there. So that's kind of like hopefully something I can get done in the next couple weeks, because otherwise it's going to be way too hot. But if you're a garden person, you have leftover dirt, like you can't just leave it in a pile and just like, oh, I'll save that for a rainy day. No, you do it. You do it. So I've actually never eaten actual passion fruit, but I hope to this year. And if I can get those in the ground, it should fruit because they're big enough to be able to fruit. Kim's wood has turned into gardening this trend around. Cindy says, well, that's exciting for her. I love that. She bought me and Stephanie some squash that grows in a vertical squash, like golden zucchini like, and I planted some of those. So hopefully we get some really amazing different way to grow squash, so where the squash vine borers don't get it, because that's what it's supposed to do. So that, and then the chicken coop situation, the poster in the ground, and Lester today was like, it's okay, I'll put you in the tractor bucket and you can get the net over the top. And I was like, why me? Why do I have to be the one in the bucket? But it's fine. It'll be fine. I will go in the bucket and get that net over the top of it, because the chickens are ready to graduate. And I know they're ready to graduate because they're, like I told you, like they're halfway down the ridge right now and they're in the bushes. And I just had to give that all to God and be like, please bring my chickens home. I have to go do Timeout Tuesday. I'm chasing chickens everywhere right now. So I hope that I can get some of that accomplished. I do have to buy a gate, and there's a lot going on. Lester's, the ladder that we have is only a 6-foot tall ladder. So the tractor bucket is probably the only dang solution, sadly. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also hopeful that I can okay, when we did the shade cloth on the greenhouse, what I did was tie water bottles to the edge of that and toss them over. So I'm hoping that I can do something similar to the post, so that I don't have to really dive in and be in that bucket, because I'm terrified of the bucket. I don't want to fall out of the bucket. Maybe I'll strap myself to it, like use a rock climbing kit or something ridiculous like that, because Lester will never tip me. He would never do anything to scare me like that because he knows that that's terrifying as well. But and the posts are only, at this point in time, they're probably 9 or 10 foot tall. So it's not terrible. I don't think. I don't know. We'll see. Linda says, I'm tired listening to all your projects. I love projects. Projects keep me alive. I was thinking the other day of like, I am my parents' child because my dad can't sit still, my mom can't sit still. Like I got the gene thoroughly on like all around. And I called my mom and was just like, what do you have going on here? What are you doing? And she's like knee deep in 20 projects already for the year. And it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know that we know how to not do things. I haven't sat down on a couch or to watch TV. Even it took us 4 nights to watch the last Survivor episode because I can't sit still. Lester gets so frustrated because I can't sit still. I can't sit still. I can't do just one thing, which is why I find myself doing things like this. I can listen to what's on TV. I can absolutely listen. Look up every once in a while, all those things, but I need more, I guess, and I'm such a weirdo when it comes to that. Yeah, I'll see if Ben or little Chris or Uriel can do the bucket thing, but I don't know that I want to wait till they're available either, and that's part of my own, like, I don't want to say busybody, but my own, like, ready to get that project done. Like it's drug on long enough. We'll see. We'll see when they're available and when Lester's available. Tina says, I like to Tina says that she likes to do puzzles. A lot of people like to crochet or do puzzles. Isn't it weird how, and I know that some people can watch TV and be perfectly content, but I don't know of any men who can sit and be content or who have an issue with sitting and being content. Now, my dad can watch a TV show or two, but for the most part, he's got to stay busy. Lester, like, I just don't know a lot of men that need the double multitasking thing. I think it's more of a woman thing. There's a lot of people who can't just watch TV. I'm glad it's not just me. Tina says grounding is good for your health. Grounding is really good for your health, actually. Speaking of, I don't know why this just led me down the conspiracy path, but it did. I am working on our new series, or my new series of podcast / live called Dear Jamie. And I built the logo for it, and I'm working on the website where y'all can go to enter your questions, your scenarios, or your secrets, or conspiracies that you want to talk about. So I think it's going to be called Dear Jamie, and it's going to be called Secrets, Stories, and Conspiracies. I had to keep up with the S's. So I think that'll be a really fun thing. I'm hoping that we start this Thursday. I had a little bit of what happened last Thursday? Something happened last Thursday where I had to be in like 20 places at once, and I just was not prepared. So I'm hoping to be able to do this Thursday, and those will not start till 8 p.m. Just considering the time and the lighting and all of the work that's going on now after work, because the real work begins after work. I think it'll be fun to talk about things that people write in about, secrets, and then also, we got to talk about a conspiracy or two. And we will do those every single week on Thursdays. And then they'll also be available as a podcast on like Spotify and maybe Apple Podcast. I have to think and figure those out in the next couple of days. But at the very least, we will do it right here together on Thursday evenings. So it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited about it. Some of y'all have written me some things, and it's a variety of things, and I haven't decided about like how do I sort and switch in between, and I know that's a lot of overthinking about all of those things. So I will have guests, not every time, but I will have guests, and I will be able to I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be really a time for people to think, and a time for people to relate, and a time for people to be shocked by some of the things, and just a find a time for us to relate, really. So it'll be 8 o'clock Central Time, Miss Kathy. Yes. So I'll get the stuff together before Thursday and mark that out. Yeah, Margaret, it'll be like Dear Abby, except it'll be Dear Jamie. I am trying to purchase the website dearjamie.com. Someone else owns it right now. It's not functioning. They just own the link. If I can't get that, it'll be called dearjamielyn.com. But it's okay. I'm working on building all of that, and I just think it'll be really fun. There's a lot of people that love conspiracies and like to think that way and want to talk about things. So there's a lot of people in my personal life that's all we talk about. But there's a lot of people on here who are curious about some things too. And just remember that it is all for entertainment purposes. I'm not trying to sway anybody or do anything like that. I just think it's a fun topic that is different than what we talk about today. So that'll be a really good time. Somebody says, and you chose Thursdays to do that? Listen, I'm trying to balance out the Thursdays thing, okay? Thursday has been rolling solid since this past Wednesday. And I'm trying to get Thursdays to treat me better. I'll say that. Don't forget my tinfoil hat. Yes, you might need that. It's going to be a good time. This Friday, I have confirmed that Miss Tina, our alpaca shearer, is coming. And unfortunately, I have a very busy work day that day. And Lester is going to be greatly needed in assisting her. That's 4 alpacas to shear and catch. So I think what Lester and I will have to do is on Thursday, put the alpacas in the separate pasture and then bring in a couple of cattle panels to be able to corner them and make their area smaller to be able to catch them. Now, Ernie will be easy, but the other 3, they're going to be something else. I did confirm that the halters are here. So that is great news because I don't have to go buy anymore. And even though they hate it, y'all, they hate being sheared. It has to be done. It's how they can stay alive because they have to lose that fiber. We will also do fecal test directly from them this time. So I'll be able to get 100% accurate read. We'll trim their teeth and we'll trim their toenails. We will vaccinate. We will deworm all in that day for everyone. So it's going to be a busy day. And like I said, I am slammed with work. So I'm not going to be too much help in the beginning. So Lester and I need to put most of the work in on Thursday. So there's that. Yes. Abby, it will 100% be an alpaca rodeo. Without fail. That's going to happen. The other thing that's going to happen very soon is our horse dentist is going to come back and trim the pig tusks on Newton and Tiny Tim. So she has appointments in Beaumont next week, and she's like, I'll just swing by and we'll get those done really quick. She didn't have the right tool with her whenever she was here. So that is going to happen as well. And Lester and I will be doing a deworming fest within the goats and the pigs this week or weekend in addition to that. And then that should get us all up to speed on everyone at this property. And the horses are already done. The donkeys are already done. And all we need then is to just brush donkeys. Then we should be okay. it is a very wild and crazy time of year, but it is necessary and going to be something. It's definitely going to be something. Um, so yeah, busy week. The Ivy is not doing better. She had a good day the other day, and she had a really rough day today and yesterday. And that's part of one of my stresses is like Ivy's will is incredible. Ivy still comes to eat. She still goes to drink. She still follows her herd. She just lays down when she gets there. And that is probably the heaviest thing on my mind is like, it's different than Dixie. It's way different than Voodoo. Ivy has the most willpower in any animal I've ever seen. And watching her do everything to be a part of her herd and to act like nothing's wrong makes this so hard. So hard. I keep hoping that her good days will last longer and it'll give her some relief. But I feel like it's like a 1-to-1 ratio right now. Like we're 50-50. Ivy's between 38 and 39 years old. She's a senior donkey, and she has a bone infection that appears to heal, but then flares up, and it probably flares up with weather. She probably also has a little bit of laminitis. And then she definitely has arthritis in her bones and joints. I will say that when Dr. Rogers, the dentist, was here, she's also a veterinarian. She gave Ivy an injection for pain versus the oral that I have here, and it lasted about 3.5, almost 4 days for her, and gave her 4 true days. So I do know that if I can get rid of the infection overall, that I can mitigate the pain enough to get her through that if I can give her an injection every 4 days. I would love to tell you that Ivy is really wonderful and it's super easy to give injections to, but they are IV. It's an IV med, and that makes it really hard to do for her. So I know that none of us want to see her in pain whatsoever. I don't want to see her in pain, but it's really hard for me to think about making that decision, knowing that she still makes her way all around that 10-acre pasture and that she doesn't leave her friend's side, and that she comes to eat, she comes to me to be brushed, all of those things. And it's really hard to make that decision when you see that fight in an animal. Versus Dixie and Voodoo, who basically told me like, Mom, I'm done. So, Deb, I'm not sure that IV antibiotics would help. We've asked that question before, and basically bone infections are very, very hard to treat, and they only make 2 kinds of antibiotics, and she's on one of them, and it does help to an extent. And it's like all of a sudden we'll have a setback, and we don't actually know if that is the infection flaring up or. So what happens is the osteomyelitis, which is the bone infection, affects greater than just the bone. It affects the other tissue around it. And because this is her hoof and her ankle, the same way that the lamina affected Voodoo, the lamina is affected in her as well. It's weak, and the antibiotics actually weaken that even more, and the pain medications weaken that even more. So it may not be the infection that's causing the pain, it's the medicine that causes the pain. So that is just like, it's cyclical, and it's hard. And then all of a sudden she'll have this like great couple of weeks. She was running a few weeks ago across the pasture and it was fine. So that's where I'm like, I've always gone with my gut, and I've asked the animals, and that sounds really silly. But I've asked the animals, and I've always relied on them to tell me. And Ivy has not told me yet. It sounds really silly. When I ask Ivy, she looks at me like I'm the craziest person on this earth, and she stands right up in front of me. Like, no, I am not ready for that yet. Give me my pill, and I'm gonna go hang out with Bucky's. And I don't I know that she's making it. And I will say this, she was worse this winter. Way worse. So I'm treating her and caring for her every single day, every single night, everything. I'm massaging her leg. I'm putting liniment on her leg. I'm soaking her foot. I'm doing everything. And I think that it helps her. And when she tells me it's time, it is my promise to you that I'll respect that. But today it isn't. And that's why she's still here. So, not crying again. Not doing it again. All right. Kelly, I can't tape her ankle because she has a bout of proud flesh from this bone infection. And if you put pressure on it, it actually makes that grow more. So we tried that already and it did not work. All right. Xander and Kendra. So we are pending the engineer to come and review the foundation, and then the insurance is just waiting on that same thing. When we figure out that, then we will figure out next steps with the house. I did talk to the city because I was asking questions of like, if we have to gut this house, I think that we would do some things differently, just for the sheer fact of we would probably just want to be able to either dig like a partial basement or put in a storm shelter. And I wanted to know from the city, like, what are the rules, right? Because this house was built in like 1900 and it is really close to the sidewalk. And I know that there's new rules that you get grandfathered into sometimes because of existing structure. So the new rule is it has to be 25 foot off the sidewalk. Their house is indeed not 25 foot off the sidewalk. So if we have to if we decide to maintain the same foundation, we can and can do things, but we have to put the storm shelter or small basement. There are certain ways that definitely has to be off from the property lines. So I've been talking a lot about just potential plans with the city and just understanding all of those pieces. But in that, my mom sent me this really neat link of someone who took a storm shelter and actually put it in their garage. And I was like, well, there's already concrete there. The video actually shows an excavator coming in and chopping out a certain block of concrete. And then they bury this storm shelter and they put the concrete back in, and you still can drive and park right over top of it. So we may actually end up doing that. But I just want to give them a safe space. For storms, because Kendra has some PTSD and it's pretty bad. And every time that there's a chance of storm, she feels at risk, and I don't blame her. So we'll see what happens with the insurance and whatnot. But at the very least, we know that at least half of the house has to be taken down to the studs. And then we'll see what's next. I saw Cog Hills above ground shelter. And that is an option for them as well. They just want something that's safe. And it was really funny because when Xander called to tell me, like their hopes and dreams basically, and like if we were going to do this, he told me, he goes, we'll settle for a smaller house, but we need a shelter of some sort. And I was like, yes, absolutely. He goes, doesn't have to be anything big, but enough for me and Kendra and a baby. Oh, and my dogs. And I just thought it was really like it's really strange because it still hasn't like fully kicked into I'm gonna be a grandma and my baby is having a baby because I still like for whatever reason, Xander in my mind is still, 15, 16 years old. He clearly isn't. Um, and I guess that makes me still feeling like I'm, 30 or 35 or whatever the case is. But thinking about thinking about hearing that, I'm like, oh yeah, that you do need to think about that. It was just really special to hear him be thinking, as he should, because they're 22 and 23 years old, and just to be able to think that way and to be conscious of it, just it made me proud. I'll say that it just made me proud. So we'll see what happens with all of those pieces, but we're just waiting now. And Kendra called me the other day to ask me some questions. And in the background, I hear Xander just like rambling the most random things and just like having a one-sided conversation. I was like, what is he doing? She's like, oh, he's on his headset on a game. And I'm like, how does that not drive you nuts? Because they're living in one big open space right now together. I was like, how does that not drive you nuts? She goes, oh, I just tune it out. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to. There's no way that Lester and I could live in one open space. We both like between my working and him going live all the time, we would literally have to schedule time slots of like, okay, I get 11 to 12 and you get 12 to 1 and all of those things. So that was something interesting. Somebody says, who's older, Xander or Ellie? Ellie is older. Ellie's 25, and Xander is 22. Sherry's granddaughter's having a baby tomorrow. Well, congratulations, Miss Sherry. I am excited to be a grandma. I haven't done this yet because I want to know the gender, but upstairs are a couple of totes of Xander's baby things. And most of them are blankets, but a few outfits, a couple pairs of shoes. I want to go through it really bad. And I want to look at it and touch it. And then I want to pack it up and send it to him. But I haven't yet because I want to know what it is and to think about that and just be excited about it and then look out for the shopping that will begin once we figure out what it is as well. Um, the days feel like all the other parts of my life feel like it's just like flashing, rushing by. And like, I feel like I wake up and all of a sudden the day is over and I still haven't accomplished everything that I need to. And then in the same sentence, the countdown of the days to find out the gender feel like they're dragging on. It's crazy. It's so crazy. My mom and I were talking the other day and she was like, it feels really weird that I'm going to be a great grandma. She goes, it hasn't kicked in yet. I'm like, I'm going to be a grandma and that hasn't kicked in yet. And I'm like, I'm 42. I'll be 43 when this baby's born. And she's, giving me a hard time about how old I am and all of those things. So really neat. And then, of course, my grandma being a great great grandmas, being great great grandmas, will be something just so special. So I am absolutely looking forward to that. And I think the whole family is. It's such a blessing. Lisa, I think so. They're going to try to find out at May 1st, I think, is the next appointment. And that will be a little bit early. So they're going to see if they can see it. If not, we have to wait a whole other month, sadly, to be able to find out. So I'm hoping that everything cooperates and that we can find out in a few weeks, because the anxiousness around the what is killing me. And it's not even mine. Like, but I just can't wait to know. So excited to know. Yes, we will absolutely have to take a 5-generation picture. I think she's somewhere around 13 weeks today. Yeah, I think that's where she's at today. This is the first grandbaby of mine and of Lester's, and she is due October 22nd, which is a super popular day in Xander's side of the family. Yeah, they do blood work and I learned about that you can go get blood work done to determine the sex or the is it sex or gender? Is it gender? It used to be both. Maybe it still is both. Maybe I'm overthinking that. Anyway, um, we'll see. Uh, that I know you have to pay for that, and that's like a private thing that you do. So I'm not sure if that's what they want. But either way, either way, I'm excited, and it's a light, and it is a bright spot in all of our lives because I cannot wait to meet this sweet little baby, and to watch my baby become a dad is just wild to think about. Katie, the name that I want to call myself is I want to be a Mamie, but Xander told me that he goes, you don't actually get to pick. He's like, the baby gets to pick. So that's what we're doing. We will see what happens. Um, I don't know if they're going to do a gender reveal. I was actually thinking, like, Kendra has sisters and, of course, a mother and, family on that side, but I don't know if she has girlfriends that would be willing to throw her a shower. So I've never met her mother or anything like that. So I feel like I need to reach out at some point in time and be like, hey, because I want that to be a special moment too of a shower. And like, I also don't want to overstep, but I just want to make sure that somebody's thinking of that because Kendra and her family is the one who thinks of all those things and does all the planning and stuff like that. So I don't want that to be forgotten on her behalf because that's a special thing. Oh, Jill, that would be a really neat thing to do an online shower. That would be really special, actually. Let's see here. I think Sue wants to know what the heartbeat was. Let me look at the messages from Kendra because it was on the ultrasound she sent over. Okay, well, apparently we've messaged a lot since then. The heartbeat, it doesn't say. I don't think so. Nope, that was only one picture. It does not say. I thought it did. Hold on, I'm double checking to make sure I'm not missing it. Let's message Kendra and ask her. What was the heart rate of the baby when you went in? Because isn't there something about if it's higher, it's a boy? Isn't that like the theory? Higher is a girl. Okay. We'll see. We'll see what she says. We'll see if she's even awake. She's been working early, 1:40 something. What does that mean? What's normal? What is higher though? Y'all are killing me right now. Half of you say the higher rate is a boy, and the other half say the higher rate is a girl. 140 could be either. Oh, that didn't help us at all. Well, dang, that didn't help us at all. Apparently, if it's higher, it's a girl. But no, 140 is right in the middle. LOL. Period. Total fail on determining the gender. Sorry. That's funny. Ask Google. 165 is high, 140 is a boy. Xander and Kendra want a boy. Cassandra, I will absolutely not ask her that. We'll see what Kendra says. She said, I know. That was one of the first things that I checked. What do you all think it is? Condo? I'm not going to tell you what my grandma says. My grandma's always right. I will wait until I will write that down. Maybe if they do a gender reveal, I will write down what grandma said. I would love to do one of those videos of going through all the family and saying, my name's Jamie, I'm the grandma, and I think you're a XYZ, and get everybody's, thoughts and whatnot, and then do the gender reveal. I think that would be so fun. A lot of people think it's a boy. Never know. Never know. We'll see. All I want is for it to be healthy, and for Kendra to have a safe pregnancy and delivery as well. And whatever happens from there. I think that they're going to be wonderful parents. My mom and I were talking about, like, that's what you do. Talk about your mom. Talk with your mom about your kids. We were talking about the type of parents that they'll be. And I said, they're really homebodies. Overall, they stay home almost all the time. They both work, but then they're home. And once they get home, they don't do anything. Like, they're home. Xander plays his golf simulator and does some gaming, but he's in school he's in union school on top of working. And Kendra reads a lot, and they hang out with their dogs. They cook, they clean, they take care of their yard, like all of those things. So as far as like their lifestyle changing greatly, it's not actually. They live very different lives than most, I think, their age. So I think it's going to be wonderful, and I'm really excited for them. I would love for them to be back in their house by that point in time, but nothing's moving fast, and I'm a little bit nervous about that part for them. But either way, we'll see. We will absolutely see. Anyway, I've been talking to y'all for well over an hour, and I was late to get to this party, and I'm curious to know if the chickens have made it in or not. And I still have to go water part of the garden, and I want to go and do some of my night rounds. And unfortunately, at this property, I don't have a good enough signal to be able to take y'all with me everywhere. I hope one day that we can set up all of the extensions and make all of that work, because I would love to do chores with somebody and have someone to talk to while I'm doing them. But I just have to tell you thank you. Thank you for letting me word vomit tonight, for letting me be me and share what was on my heart, and for just being a part of my life and this live, and loving these animals the way that I do, loving my family the way that I do, and for putting up with me, because I'm not perfect at all. I'm just a person. I'm just Jamie. And I really am incredibly grateful that you choose to spend your time with me, because it is your greatest gift of all. Your greatest currency is your time. And it can never be replaced once you spend it. So I love you so very much. And I am so grateful for you. And I hope that you stay well and that you stay safe, and that you check out tomorrow's video, and that you come back for Dear Jamie night, because I think it's going to be a good one. So I love you, and I will catch you on the next video. Good night, y'all.